All right, Larry Krueger here at Levi Stadium for the Pig in a Pickle Krug Show with a little 49er training camp practice recap video. And this was training camp practice number 13. Okay, let's just go. There were a bunch of things that happened today, so we'll go through it one by one. One, the Niners signed safety Tracy Walker. We did a whole video on this earlier today. He's an interesting guy. The Niners released Eric Harris, the veteran safety, and signed Tracy Walker away from Detroit. Walker was a third-round pick, and out of Louisiana Lafayette. He's an interesting player. He's from Brunswick, Georgia, 6'1", 206, ran 4.51 with 14 reps, 33-inch vert coming out. He's one of 6 kids. What I really like about him, he's super athletic. He's a long-armed safety who some people thought could play press man corner coming out of college. He's really probably not a press man corner, but his coverage ability for a safety is pretty good. And he's definitely an upgrade on Eric Harris. So the Niners, looking for a little bit more quality depth at safety, added Tracy Walker. And he's a rangy free safety who can cover. We had a chance to talk to Chris Forster and I earlier before practice, and I asked Chris, how much time is a player like Trent Williams going to need to get ready? And he couldn't give me a specific answer, but, there's definitely a guy like, Trent has done a lot of the mental reps. I think the Niners would love to have, let's say a week to 10 days of camp before they throw him out there, whether he's experienced or not, whether he needs it or not. I don't think they want to throw him into the fire, after a day or two of practice. So, what does that mean? That means that they're going to need him to sign at some point, let's say a week to 10 days before their week 1 matchup with the Jets. So we still have some more time, but Trent continues his hold out. And Brandon Aiyuk continued his hold in. Now, there are reports that the Niners may have kind of reapproached Aiyuk and upped their offer to him slightly. And they would like Aiyuk to choose one of 3, choices, one of 3 options. Either accept their offer or play on the 5th-year option at $14.1 million, or accept a trade to a team that's willing to give the 49ers what they seek in compensation. And right now, Aiyuk wants to play for the Steelers. Steelers can't satisfy the Niners in a trade. Andrew Filipponi of 93.7 in Philly, the fan in Pittsburgh, I should say, says the deal of Aiyuk to Pittsburgh is pretty much a done deal and will happen. He's saying that really the delays at this point are all about contractual language being worked out between Aiyuk and the Steelers, and that Aiyuk's going to be a Steeler. But there are other reports out there that the 49ers have not agreed to the compensation package. And if you're the 49ers, I'm sure you want a pretty hefty compensation package. Now, one of the theories of the day was that the 49ers, partially because they obviously need Aiyuk, and partially because Pearsall and Cowing, the 2 rookie receivers, are both been a little dinged up and maybe even a little fragile here in the early part of training camp, that they want a wide receiver back, and that they're not really a fan of any of the Steeler wide receivers. Now, the Steelers have George Pickens, but I doubt they're offering him to the Niners in this trade. It's more likely they're offering a tiny little return guy like Calvin Austin, which probably doesn't excite the 49ers because Austin's chances of making the 49ers are probably only 50-50 of him making the roster. So, what does that mean? That means that according to some of the printed reports and some of the X reports that are out there, that the 49ers may have partially agreed to a deal with the Steelers as far as maybe there's player X or player X and Y coming here with a draft pick. If the 49ers feel like they can get a draft pick and reroute that draft pick to a third team for a receiver that they feel is a suitable replacement, that sounds like it may take a third team to get this deal to actually go through between the Niners and the Steelers. Now, what does that mean? A lot of people speculating about Devontae Adams and the Raiders, T. Higgins and the Bengals, Christian Kirk and the Jaguars. There's a lot of people speculating about a lot of different receivers. And who knows which receiver the 49ers have interest in. I would say Cortland Sutton might be an interesting one out of Denver. Let's say you could get, I don't know, James Daniels, Nick Herbig, and a second-round pick, and you could flip a second-round pick or a third-round pick, for a receiver that you really like. Maybe that makes sense. And maybe a guy like Cortland Sutton. If the 49ers were to get James Daniels and Nick Herbig and Cortland Sutton, maybe that might be enough for Brandon Aiyuk. I mean, to me, that would probably be enough. I don't know what the offer is. I'm speculating 100% on all of this. But that one is interesting. It's like nothing's happened yet on the Aiyuk front. Filippone, the radio guy out of Pittsburgh, says it's going to happen. They're just working out contract details. Other reports say that the Niners are trying to engage a third team that would be willing to take a draft pick to spin them a receiver, so they would actually have a receiver they could replace Aiyuk with comfortably at the start of this year. So that is where we're at. Now, with that as the backdrop, the 49ers today signed wide receiver Robbie Anderson, who's now goes by Robbie Chosen. He's 6'3", 190 pounds. He's wearing, I guess, I'm not sure actually what number he was wearing. Somebody said 84, but I don't think 84. I don't think he was wearing 84 today. He played at Temple collegiately. The one thing about Robbie Anderson, or now that he goes by Robbie Chosen, the guy always could make circus catches. I mean, amazing circus catches. He's got a really, really, really thin frame. He's missed 114 games, or I should say he missed time in 2014 due to academics. I can't read my own writing now. And he's had some focus drops, but he did run 4.34 at his pro day when he came out of college. So he had the vertical speed to get deep. He's always been a super skinny guy who makes some amazing catches. He came into the league as an undrafted free agent with the New York Jets. He since has played for Carolina, Arizona, and Miami. So the 49ers would be his fifth team and are his fifth team. But Robbie Chosen, we'll see what he's got in the preseason. That one's interesting. Today was an interesting practice in that there was a whole group of guys that didn't practice. No Ward, no Danny Gray, obviously no Aiyuk, no Pearsall, no Conley, no Isaac Yiadom, no Christian McCaffrey. Just a bunch of guys missed out today. No Patrick Taylor, no Logan Thomas, no John Feliciano. Guarendo's out. Fred Warner was out. Just a bunch of guys who wind up missing today. Purdy looked good, I thought, today in practice. He had a couple of really, really nice plays. George Odom had a big hit. We saw Cody Schrader and Cody Schrader and J.P. Mason both have a couple of really nice runs. Who's looked kind of good today was Keyshawn Vaughn, the running back, the former Tampa Bay Buccaneer. He had one excellent run that I saw. He showed some amazing jump cuts. I mean, Keyshawn Vaughn at Vanderbilt not that long ago was a really good football player. Renardo Green had a PBU. Renardo Green looks great. Samuel Womack had a couple PBUs. Malik Mustapha had a fantastic PBU in this practice today. We saw a little brawl between Juwan Jennings and Jalen Graham. That's like the second or third time we've seen Graham mix it up, which I love to see because he's such a nice kid, but he's an aggressive player who wants to get on the field. Jalen Graham, I think, is a really good player. So, he's mixed it up on a couple of fights already in this camp. He wants to get out there. Trent Taylor made a couple nice catches in practice today. We saw Mitch Wishnowsky out there walking around. He's been battling some tendonitis, I believe, in his knee. I believe he's had knee tendonitis. Couple other things that stood out in practice today. It was interesting to hear Jair Brown. We talked to Jair Brown after practice, and he said that Purdy is just such a smart quarterback. He just takes control out there. I asked Jair how he's different as a player this year from this exact same time a year ago, and he said that he really recognizes the trends and the coverages a lot quicker now. He says he recognizes coverage a lot quicker when he steps to the line pre-snap. He's got a much better idea of what's coming now here in year 2 than a year ago. We got a chance to talk to Trent Taylor as well, and what a story Trent Taylor is. He's entering his 8th year. This guy's a true student of the game. This guy is 5'8", 180 pounds. He ran 4.63, and he's now played 8 years. This will be his 8th year in the NFL. He's 30. And I asked him, I said, what did Sonny Dykes, because Sonny Dykes is the guy that spotted this kid out of high school. This kid had no FBS offers at all, except for one offer from La Tech and Sonny Dykes. Sonny obviously saw the heart in this kid. He's a man. He's 30 at this point. But Trent Taylor, I think Trent Taylor is going to make this team. I don't know how, because there's not enough wide receiver spots. But he's so trustworthy as a return guy. He's so dependable in so many ways. I just see him being on this team. You could see why a special teams coach would love this guy, because he's a calming influence. He catches the ball. He's very, very sure-handed. So there you go. There's your day in Santa Clara. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of the Krug Show. Thanks to Sharp Corner Sports Cards and Collectibles for sponsoring this video. Thanks to all of you guys for supporting the Krug Show on YouTube.